Story of my life with these fuzzy plants. I just can't stop touching them. Hi guys, and welcome back to my fellow foliage. My name is Grace, and in today's video I want to talk about some fuzzy plants. Plants come in all different shapes and sizes, colors and textures, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about fuzzy plants. Some of these guys may not look like much at first glance, but once you feel them, it's a completely different story. If you ever wondered why some plants are fuzzy, here are some tidbits you might find interesting. Fuzzy plants are generally more drought tolerant and can actually take a little bit more sun. The fuzz helps to reflect sunlight and protect it from overexposure. The fuzz also breaks up airflow, which helps reduce transpiration and regulate temperature. Lastly, the fuzz helps to keep frost away from living cells, which means these guys can be quite frost tolerant too. Pretty cool, huh? I love a good fuzzy plant, and I know some of you guys do too, so without further ado, let me share 6 fuzzy plants from my collection. First is this felted peperomia, otherwise known as the Peperomia Incana. As the name suggests, these guys feel like super soft felt. The first time I saw this plant, I wasn't really attracted to it because it kind of looked pretty plain. But once I felt it, no pun intended, I knew I had to have it. I got this peperomia around March this year from Greenbeanz in Erskineville. I'll leave the details in the description bar below. And this is what it looked like when I first got it. After several months, this is what it looks like now. It's a relatively fast grower if you put it in bright indirect light and also if you prune it back. I left this on my very windy balcony when I first moved in, and some of the leaves actually broke off due to the crazy winds. But in its place, it actually shot out stems, like this one here and this one here. Which goes to show that if you prune this plant back, they actually grow really quickly for you. There's actually some evidence of wind damage still, as you can see from this leaf here. But overall, this is actually a really hardy plant, and it's really easy to propagate as well. I even took a stem cutting to propagate several weeks ago, and it's already started to develop some roots. So that's the Peperomia Incana, super easy to care for and quite a fast grower as well. Highly recommend. Next fuzzy plant on the list is this crazy looking Hoya Linearis. I love stringy looking plants like the Hoya retusa and the string of needles, but this one holds a special place in my heart because of its very fine fuzz. I'm not sure if you can tell. It's got a soft fuzz that feels really nice and delicate. This one's also a fast grower. I only had a couple of strands when I first got this, and it's grown into this crazy looking thing. It's super easy to propagate. I literally snip it and plant it back into the soil, and it roots relatively quickly as well. I'm still waiting for this to grow thick and long. I just want a curtain of these fuzzy succulent leaves. So beautiful. Alright, next I've got this Cotyledon Tomentosa. I think that's how you say it, I'm not entirely sure. But this is more commonly known as bear paw succulent because of the little paws that look super adorable. I absolutely adore this plant. I think it's the cutest thing ever. The new leaves look like little paws clapping as they emerge. And when I first got this, I used to do this all the time, make it clap. But I've broken off a couple of leaves doing that, so I've learned to stop since then. And also, if you like the look of these red tinged tips, be sure to give it more light as the claws turn red when it gets sun stressed. Because this is a succulent, I pretty much just set and forget it. I don't really do too much to it, I just give it lots of light and water it when the leaves get a little bit deflated. Super easy to care for and highly recommend. Next one is this Kalanchoe Tomentosa. You might have noticed that this has Tomentosa in the name as well as the bear paw succulent, and that's because Tomentosa basically means hairy or covered in fuzz. But the colloquial name for this plant is the panda plant, and I'm not entirely sure why, so if you guys know, please leave it in the comments down below. Anyway, so this one has a little bit more of a rough fuzz to it. It still feels really nice, just not as delicate. Kind of like between felt and artificial grass. I got this for like $2 or something from a random nursery when I was on a road trip. And I think I got this around December last year. When I first got it, it was pretty much up to here. And as you can see, it's grown up to here and also has a little pup coming out on the side. Similar to the bear paw, I just set and forget it. I give it lots of light and water it when the leaves start to curl. Second to last plant on this list is this Sinningia Leucotricha. I think that's how you say it. I don't know how to pronounce it, but this one has been on my wish list for about a year, and I finally got my hands on it several weeks ago. It's still a small little thing, but I love it so much. Just look at the furry texture on this plant. It is unreal. It's so soft and furry. If you close your eyes, it kind of feels like a puppy's ear or something. If you're wondering why there's a missing leaf on this one here, that's because when it was growing, I couldn't get my hands off it and accidentally broke it. Story of my life with these fuzzy plants, I just can't stop touching them. I got this from an eBay seller, and I'll put the details in a description bar below. I think they still have a couple on sale, so if this kind of thing interests you, definitely recommend getting your hands on one of these guys. If you are interested, there is one thing to note about this plant. It is a Codex plant, which means that it does go dormant, and this particular one goes dormant in the winter months, so we still have a couple more months to enjoy this plant before it goes into dormancy. Last but not least is this Gynura Aurantica, or the purple passion plant. I don't hear many people talk about this plant, but I think it's super interesting because the fuzz is a bright purple. Purple is my favorite color, so this plant is really special to me. It's not very popular, but it's relatively easy to find and quite inexpensive as well. These guys grow really quickly, but they do tend to get quite leggy, so I do prune them back every now and then and plant it back in to make a bushier pot. Really easy to care for, but the thing about this plant is because it's fuzzy, pests get attracted to this plant quite easily. I've had scale, mealybugs, things like that on this plant, but every time it's come back and now it's pest-free and growing well for me. I just want a full pot of these guys. I think it'll look pretty spectacular, don't you think? Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please give it a like, leave me a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye! Guys, you have to feel this. This leaf was attached to the plant before I started filming, and this is what happens when you touch your plants too much.